Alright, so you know that moment when a website fully loaded, but the second you click something, nothing happens. You tap on a button, you try scrolling on the page, you try typing into a field, and the UI freezes, but just for a second. This tiny moment of is this thing broken? That is what the Web Vital INP measures. INP stands for Interaction to Next Paint, and it measures how long it takes the UI to visually respond after you interact with something. It's not just taps or clicks, it's the entire journey from the user's action to the next paint on the screen. So, an interaction in this INP metric consists of three delays. The first one is input delay, which basically is the time until the browser can even start handling the event. Then there's the processing time or processing delay, which is the time that the JavaScript took to run. And the third one is presentation delay, which is the time until the browser repaints the updated UI. So if any one of these is slow, your INP will be slow. So imagine adding an item to your cart on Amazon. You click add to cart and the button freezes, the page stutters, the UI updates after a delay. Even if the page loaded quickly, that delay makes the whole app feel cheap. So it doesn't really matter if it loaded quickly if the entire in-app experience is choppy. Now, if you remember in the first video, I had mentioned that FID was replaced with INP. FID was first input delay. So the reason behind it was that FID only measured the delay before the first event handler ran. But the problem is that if your app looked fast on the first click, but lagged terribly on the second, fifth, or even 10th click, FID had no way to detect it. INP fixed this problem. So INP looks at every interaction the user makes, then reports the 98th percentile of those interactions. So what this means is that if a user interacts with your page many times, Google sorts all of those interaction delays and picks the value at the 98th percentile, which is the top 2% of slowest interactions. So I'll give you an example for this. Say you order pizza 100 times from the same restaurant. Most deliveries take 15 minutes, a few take 25 minutes, and only one weird day it took 2 hours because the driver got lost somewhere. Now if Google used worst case, they'd say this shop takes 2 hours to deliver. If Google used average, they'd say it's 15 minutes. Both of these are not really true and they're misleading. So Google picks the 98th percentile. It ignores that one freak 2-hour delay, but it still includes the slow but consistent 25-minute delays. That 25-minute value now becomes the INP score. So now comparing this to first input delay, in case of first input delay, the first click is fast, second click is fast, 7th click triggers a huge React re-render which takes about 450 milliseconds. Now FID would say that it's all good. But INP would highlight that this is the experience that users actually feel. This 450 millisecond delay that happened, this is what users actually feel. So this is why INP is much harder to get right than FID. And it actually makes more sense to consider this as a metric, INP over FID, because developers can actually have a workaround to fix FID. So that's the reason why FID got replaced by INP. Now there are a couple of factors that actually contribute to bad INP. The first one is heavy JavaScript on the main thread. So the browser has only one main thread that handles everything, which includes running JavaScript, painting, layout, even user interactions. All of it is handled by that one main thread. Now, if your event handler does heavy work like it's running loops or sorting, parsing JSON, or expensive state calculations, then the browser cannot process the user's click or tap until the work finishes. So INP specifically measures how long it takes for the page to respond to a user interaction. If your JavaScript blocks the main thread, the user sees a delay between the click and its reaction. Then the second problem, which is quite common, is large React component re-renders. React re-renders components when state or props change. But one tiny update like typing into an input field can accidentally re-render the form, the entire page, or sometimes even the entire app. If components are not memoized or if the context or the state is too high in the tree, this is definitely a big problem. The reason why it's a problem is because re-renders involve virtual DOM diffing plus reconciliation and then actual DOM updates, which is all JavaScript work on the main thread. So it again takes me back to the first problem, which was main thread being blocked for a long period of time. If an interaction triggers a big re-render, the UI will lag until React finishes processing. Then we have long JavaScript tasks. You can think of a task as a chunk of JavaScript code that runs without stopping. Again, all of this points to long JavaScript tasks running and blocking the main thread for other interactions to not run. If any task takes too long, it blocks all interactions until it completes. Chrome flags any task over 50 milliseconds as a long task, meaning the UI cannot react during that time. If a long task is running, even a simple click has to wait for the task to finish, delaying the visual response. One more reason why you would see a high INP score is because of lazy loaded JavaScript chunks being downloaded during an interaction. So you split your app into multiple JavaScript chunks, which is a good practice. But if the JavaScript needed for a component hasn't been downloaded yet, then the first interaction triggers both the download and execution. The browser pauses the interaction until the chunk loads. So waiting for a JavaScript file is slow. That wait time gets counted as interaction delay. So again, you can think of an e-commerce example where you click on a buy button and it's a lazy loaded component. The first time a user taps it, browser downloads a 40 KB chunk, which delays the UI by 150 milliseconds, which again contributes to the INP score. Now, let's actually focus on how to fix these problems. First things first, we'll have to keep the event handlers light. So when a user interacts with your app in the form of a click, tap, or input, the browser expects to respond immediately. But if your event handler includes heavy logic like loops, sorting, filtering, or state updates, then the browser is stuck executing that code before it can update the UI. So instead of doing everything inside the handler, you can offload heavy tasks to run later when the browser is idle. So we have options to actually push heavy work to either set timeout or a method called request idle callback. So the browser executes only light code immediately. It will update the UI right away and handle the interaction quickly. The heavy work now runs after the immediate response, the immediate UI response. Then we can split work using web workers. So if you have any CPU intensive tasks like parsing JSON files, compressing images, running AI models, sorting huge datasets, there are a lot of things that are like heavy and could block your main thread. These should obviously never run on the main thread. So instead we can move this to a web worker and calculate it in a separate thread. With a worker, main thread is now free for clicks, input, or UI updates. Heavy work is offloaded in the background. Then we can reduce unnecessary React renders. So React can render hundreds of components and deeply nested trees from a very small state change. This is where memoization comes in, which essentially keeps React work small and in turn gets you faster response, which then improves your INP score. You can also use React's use transition hook for non-urgent UI work. So as we have already discussed, some updates should not be blocking the UI. Updates like filtering, sorting, rendering new tabs or pages, these operations should be non-urgent. Use transition hook tells React don't block user interactions for this update. Do it later when there's free time. So essentially urgent interactions like typing or clicking stay instant, and heavy React work waits until the main thread is free. Then finally, we should also be lazy loading JavaScript before the user interacts. Lazy loading JavaScript on a click is too late. If I go back to the example where I click on the buy button and that is when the JavaScript for that component gets loaded, it's going to block interactions in that small time frame. So in order to prevent this, we can preload or prefetch JavaScript for likely user actions. Preloading is going to ensure that JavaScript is ready before the click happens. So let's quickly summarize this. You have to keep your event handlers light. You have to optimize re-renders in React. Use transition hook for non-blocking updates. Preload important JavaScript chunks. Avoid long main thread tasks. And use web workers for CPU heavy work. So yeah, that's INP, the most important responsiveness metric we have today. So if your app feels laggy after loading, INP is the metric that tells you why. In the next video, we'll look at CLS, the layout shift metric, and how to stop your UI from jumping around randomly. So if this was helpful, do hit the like button, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.